The Valley of Lumeria was a place few humans had ever set foot in. Nestled between towering crystal mountains and forests that glimmered with a faint bioluminescent glow, it was home to dragons, proud, ancient, and untamed. Among them lived Alyra, a young dragon daughter, and her mother, Seraphina, an albino dragon whose scales shimmered like freshly fallen snow under moonlight. Seraphina had once been the pride of the northern cliffs, renowned for her wisdom, her fiery breath, and her ability to heal with a single touch. But age and a mysterious illness had weakened her. Her wings were brittle, her scales dull, and her fire sputtered when she tried to roar. The dragons of Lumeria whispered that even the mightiest could fall, and Alyra watched her mother's strength fade with a heavy heart. For days, Alyra tried everything. She hunted the rarest herbs from the peaks, soaked her mother's scales in healing waters, and sang ancient dragon songs believed to restore vitality. Nothing worked. The illness was relentless, gnawing at Seraphina's once powerful frame. One morning, while Alyra was out gathering crystals to grind into healing powder, she overheard a group of migrating birds talking in hurried chirps about the human settlements. Humans, they said, had machines and tools unlike anything dragons could craft. Some could even mend things thought impossible to fix. A spark ignited in Alyra's mind. If anyone could help her mother, perhaps a human could. But dragons and humans rarely crossed paths. Most dragons distrusted humans. Their massive wings and keen senses made them prideful and cautious. To approach one would take courage, cunning, and patience. Alyra had all three. She decided to take a leap of faith. Seraphina was too weak to fly, so Alyra carried her mother on her back, carefully navigating the forests and cliffs. They traveled for 3 days and nights, enduring storms, hungry predators, and sheer exhaustion. Alyra would not rest until she found help. At the edge of the forest where the dragon magic thinned, she spotted it. A human settlement. Smoke curled from chimneys, and the rhythmic pounding of hammers rang through the air. Humans were everywhere, some small, some tall, all bustling with activity. Among them, a small workshop caught her attention. Tools lined every wall, and strange machines hissed and clanked. Alyra knew immediately. This was the place. She approached cautiously, the massive form of Seraphina strapped gently to her back. As they reached the workshop's entrance, humans froze, pointing and gasping. None dared approach at first. Dragons were terrifying after all. Then a man stepped forward. He was human, tall, with soot-streaked hands and a kind, calm expression. "I can help," he said, his voice steady, though his eyes widened at the sight of the albino dragon. Alyra lowered her mother to the ground with care. The man, whose name was Elias, circled Seraphina, examining her scales, wings, and limbs. "This is incredible," he murmured. "I've never seen anything like her, but I think I know what to do." For the next several hours, Elias worked. He didn't wield magic. Humans had no such power. Instead, he used machines, precision instruments, and gentle, skillful hands to tend to Seraphina. He cleaned her brittle scales, aligned tiny fractures in her wings with delicate braces, and designed a mechanical device to support her weakening muscles. Alyra watched, heart pounding, as her mother's chest rose more steadily with each breath. The humans in the village whispered among themselves, marveling at the sight. To see a dragon, a living, breathing, snow-white dragon, in such close proximity was a rare honor. Yet they also recognized something extraordinary, the trust between Alyra and the human. It was not fear or awe, but love and determination that bound them. By nightfall, Elias had finished. Seraphina stirred slightly, her golden eyes flickering open. She sniffed the air, tried a weak roar, and for the first time in days, a tiny plume of fire escaped her mouth, warm and flickering. Alyra's eyes shimmered with tears. She had not expected results this quickly. Humans were fragile beings, yet their skill and compassion rivaled even the greatest of dragon healers. Over the next few days, Elias continued his work. He adjusted the mechanical supports to better fit Seraphina's form, and Alyra brought food and herbs to aid recovery. Slowly, strength returned to Seraphina's wings, and her scales regained their lustrous glow. Her fire became steady and bright once more. During this time, a bond formed between the dragons and the human. Alyra learned to understand Elias's gestures, while he learned the rhythms of dragon breathing, the subtleties of their expressions, and the nuances of their incredible anatomy. It was a partnership built on trust, respect, and mutual admiration. The villagers came to watch, cautiously at first, then with awe and delight. They marveled at the care a human could offer a creature of legend, and the respect a dragon could show in return. It was a lesson that many would never forget, that kindness and courage were not confined to one species, and that the impossible could be achieved when hearts worked together. One crisp morning, after weeks of care, Seraphina was ready to fly again. Alyra and Alyra stepped back as she stretched her wings, testing their strength. Then, with a mighty leap, she took to the skies, leaving a trail of shimmering light behind. Alyra followed closely, reveling in the feeling of the wind against her scales. Alyra stood below, tears glistening in his eyes, watching as dragons he had only dreamed about soared into the dawn. When Seraphina finally landed gracefully beside Elias, she nuzzled him gently. Though dragons could not speak like humans, the gratitude in her eyes was unmistakable. Alyra bowed her head in respect. From that day forward, the Valley of Lumeria and the human settlement developed a bond. Humans learned to assist dragons in times of need, and dragons grew to understand the courage and ingenuity of humans. Alyra and Elias continued their friendship, exchanging knowledge of machines and magic, while Seraphina thrived, a symbol of hope, healing, and the bridges that could exist between worlds. The story of the albino dragon, her devoted daughter, and the human mechanic spread far and wide. It inspired songs, paintings, and tales that would be told for generations, a story of compassion, bravery, and the magic that happens when worlds unite. And for Alyra, there was one lasting lesson she would never forget. Sometimes, even the mightiest dragons need the help of those smaller than themselves. And sometimes, the smallest human heart can do wonders that magic alone cannot achieve. As the sun set over the valley, Seraphina, healthy and radiant, looked to her daughter and to Elias. The bond they had forged would last lifetimes, and the world had witnessed a miracle born of love, determination, and courage.